All right, guys, we have Paul Getter here, the Internet Marketing Nerd. I'm super excited to have this conversation today. I've been secretly following you, Paul, for several years now since I've, saw, your brilliance of what you've been doing over the last couple of years.
You have been stalking me, Bryan. I am honored.
I have. I've been just watching what you've been doing, man. And when I saw you at Funnel Hacking Live, man, at first I saw you, and I think you saw me too, and I was like, okay, well, right now is not the right moment because I was in the middle of transition, but I was like, you know what, I can't wait to say hi and meet you and just connect because you're a man of faith, and I'm a man of faith, and there's not a lot of people in this marketing, like the world of marketing and internet marketing, that are passionate about both internet marketing and also passionate about their faith.
Yeah. No, I see my faith in business. They're connected.
Mm-hmm.
What I do, the scripture says, and whatsoever you do, do it heartily as unto the Lord. And so my business, my passion, I do it as a reflection of my relationship with Christ. So absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. Same here. I hear you, man. That's why I'm so driven as well. So awesome to have you on, man. And what I want to talk about today is, according to Forbes, the self-education industry is set to triple by 2025 from 325 million a day to $1 billion a day, right? Wow. And so, when I got started on my journey, I got introduced to network marketing, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Although I didn't make any money in network marketing, I got introduced to amazing products, and then through that, I got turned on to Og Mandino's Greatest Salesman in the World, The Choice, The Magic of Thinking Big, and then eventually Tony Robbins. And my world was rocked because, as a kid growing up in the traditional education system, I was told to read all this stuff that was boring, right? And I had to take tests on it, and it didn't help that I was a little slow. Like I had to go through, special education classes to figure out why I couldn't comprehend things. And then when I got introduced to self-education, personal development, I was like, my mind was blown, and I went deep into a rabbit hole for 2 years. Didn't date. All I did is just consumed everything I get my hands on. They talked about people how they, the average person who buys a book reads past the first chapter, and I'm like, I think back and I look back at my, what I did in the beginning. I'm like, I was basically, I'm self-made, and I didn't have. College wasn't given to me. I had to take out student debt. I was a personal trainer on the side. And it was like, everything I bought, I consumed everything because I didn't want to leave anything on the table. So what I would love to hear from you is, when did your self-education journey start?
Yeah. So I tell you what, I went to college also, and I went to Bible college and actually graduated with a degree in theology, which I found out very quickly it was not a very marketable degree. I remember filling out job applications and saying, "Oh, I've got a degree in theology," and they're like, "Oh, is that the study of rocks?" I'm like, "No, that's theology." So I had aspirations of being involved in helping nonprofits and things. And again, I found out very quickly that also was not a very lucrative path. I have a family, and it was difficult. It was not a very marketable degree. I learned a lot of cool stuff, and I appreciate the experience, but it wasn't. I always had a tech background. I always joke around with people and tell them, I was playing around with the internet before it was the internet. It was, you probably remember the days when it's called a bulletin board system.
Yeah.
You had CompuServe and AOL and all of those platforms. So I always kind of played around with the tech and would try to learn stuff on my own, just figure it out, whether it was ad platforms, SEO. And when you're in that setting, you just kind of I felt like I was all alone. I'm like, am I the only person doing this? And I thought, I figured this out. But you would have issues where I was like, I would come into a problem when Facebook ads first launched. You would have days where you would log on to Facebook ads and it was not there. I mean, it was just like, it was gone. And I'm like, oh, they kicked me out or something. I didn't know what was going on. And so I just felt alone. I couldn't learn. And I remember the first time I had one other friend that I knew that was doing internet marketing. And back in the initial days, it was just like guys on their computers in a cave somewhere doing internet marketing, and it was very mysterious. And I remember I found one guy online in some chat forum, and he was doing similar stuff to me. And he said, look, we would always ask each other questions. He said, hey, there's this guy that is going to be releasing a course. And now saying this, it sounds funny, but when someone released a course about like Facebook ads, or there wasn't 1,000 courses. This was like one of the very first ones. And he said, this guy really knows what he's doing. And so I told him, I said, man, whenever he releases it, let me know. And I remember he released it, and I purchased the course. I don't remember, it was probably a couple $100.
Right.
But when I got into the course, it wasn't, there were some great insights and stuff, but more importantly, what happened is I was connected with all of these other people that bought the course, and it was like a community. And I was like, oh, there's other people doing this. And
Nice.
So I found out that, okay, if maybe I had a glitch on my computer or the ads weren't working, we would all, hey, anybody else having this problem? Like, yeah, I'm having that problem too. Must be an issue with Facebook. And I felt like, okay, now I'm not alone. There's other nerds out there that are doing the same thing that I was doing. And so I remember that was probably one of the most valuable things, is not only being able to learn and find out, being able to educate myself and learn from other people, but being a part of a community too. That was, in my opinion, is very invaluable.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think, having access to information is great, but it's like, if you're doing it by yourself, lone wolfing it, right? Like, that's no fun, right? And then it's like, there's power in a community, right? I mean, we were just at Funnel Hacking Live this year, and it was like, talk about the roar of the community, right?
So here's the funny thing, is I've always been this guy that, again, when I first got started marketing, I didn't want anybody telling me, I didn't want to tell anybody what I did. It was not that I didn't want to, people to find out that I did this, but I was very private about it. I'm blessed, making a lot of money, and I didn't want people kind of like hanging over my shoulder, ask me questions, how are you doing this? And then, there's kind of maybe that insecurity, like, okay, if people find out what you're doing, maybe they'll try to steal your business or something like that. And for a long time, I would never go to events. I would never go to, because again, I wanted to be secret what I was doing. And looking back, it was probably something that jeopardized my growth, because it was not until I really started coming out of this, nerd cave where I was hiding just on the computer and stuff. It's just like me and my team, like, don't tell anybody what we're doing. But when I started going to events like Funnel Hackers and other marketing events, I found, it's just, there's a connection of community, and there's value. Even the scripture alludes to it. Iron sharpens iron. So that's kind of where I found myself connecting with people like yourself and people within the community that really helped me go to the next level. Yeah.
What was I know for me, like, events and masterminds, but like events really, when I look back on my whole career, like, it's typically like it's either events or masterminds or mentors. But if thinking back for yourself right now, like, how pivotal and how game-changing has going to events and being face-to-face with people, has it been to, number one, potentially meeting clients, or just maybe getting an idea from someone else that you're, rubbing shoulders with?
Yeah, that to me, here's the one thing that when you look back, if everything that you have right now is taken away from you, the relationships that you can make at events, real solid relationships, friendships, partnerships, whatever it might be, those are something that are irreplaceable. Let's say for example, right now, something happens and I lose everything. It's like, I met Bryan at ClickFunnels, so I'm going to call him up. Bryan, man, you got to help me out, bro. I lost everything. And I've got a friend. I got a relationship. So that's something, the value of a relationship, you can't put a price tag on that. And then it's so cool because you can, that there's a danger in thinking that you know it all. And I think if you're a good marketer, that sometimes you're like, I already heard this before. I already heard this. I already know this. And especially if you're studying and you are self-learning, you kind of have that feeling, I know this. But somebody can say one thing, one website, one strategy, one tactic that honestly it can add, double your business. It can multiply it. Just one thing, one sentence, one phrase.
It's true. Yeah, I agree, man. Do you have an example of that? Because I have tons of them, but I would love to hear like an example of you being at an event or a mastermind or a workshop, and like you heard one thing. Because typically, like, it could be literally one line. I mean, I totally resonate with what you just said, and I can remember back. But before I tell you that story of my one thing, like, I'd love to know, like, what was that for you in your journey? Because I think if people understand that, like, the way I look at going to events is like, okay, if I can get one nugget, it'll help me on my journey, right? And that's all I need is that one nugget. I'm like hunting for the nugget, right? But I would love to hear from you, like, think back in time,
Yeah, so I probably just like you, there's so many different things that I can think of. Sometimes it's a website. Someone tells me, hey, have you seen this website before? Or have you tried using this tool? I can remember back in the day when it was like different types of strategies for Facebook ads, try this color, this headline, and little things like that. But more than that, it's kind of like you see people's success, you see what they're doing, and I mean, even someone's personal story can just sincerely motivate you. I remember just recently, I was talking with a guy who 10 years ago, he had moved to Las Vegas, and he was broke. I mean, he was homeless, he was panhandling, and he told me, he said, I had too much pride, I couldn't do panhandling anymore, and then I started getting into business and following people doing business. And 10 years later, he did $12 million this past year, and just that, to me, I mean, he's telling me this story and he's in tears, and to me, it was like, if this guy was homeless 10 years ago and now he made $12 million last year. Yeah. If he can do it, anybody can do it. Yeah. So it's stories like that. It's connections like that. It's, for example, someone saying, hey, you should try, when you start your ads, start 10 ad sets at a time, and then, let it run for 48 hours and find the winners, and then shut off all the losers and scale the winners. Things like that you hear strategies from people, ways of scaling. Of course, what we do is kind of like technical science type, very analytical. So just adding 10% onto something, like certain days you don't scale, you'll see that. I give you an example. I found out that Facebook increases their cost of ads during probably like a week before and a week after they release the quarterly reports. Nice. So, it's things like that. You're like, okay, why is my ads acting funny? Well, hey, they're releasing the reports next week. Right.
When we get a spike in the earnings reports, right? Yeah. You know what I'm curious about, and now that we're talking about the conversation of like how events and like, in-person things can like really make a difference for people. One of the things is like, so Funnel Hacking Live, you were there, obviously, like we connected. What was like one big takeaway from Funnel Hacking Live this year? Like, what was, like, looking back, I'm sure you've meditated on it at this point, but like, what's like one thing that you took away and you looking forward to, bringing back to your business?
Yeah. So, number one, we had our whole team there. So it's kind of like, I love it because they're getting fed, and nice. One person is getting one thing, one's getting another thing. And on Monday, we all kind of talked about, hey, what was your highlights and stuff. For me, one of the things that I realized is when it comes to building a personal brand, that it's about content, putting content out there. And so right here on my desk, I've got a bunch of books, and it's about content, making more videos and changing your strategy, being different. And, so that was something that really connected with me, is how to do the content. Some of the speakers that were there is just, they're rock stars on YouTube, and you realize that there's so many different platforms that if you're not utilizing, they're all free. I mean, how much does it cost to start up a YouTube channel or TikTok or Instagram, Facebook? It's all free. So it's opportunity for you to put content out there. The more content you put out there, you do it in a strategic way, you do it in a scheduled way, that it'll build momentum. And it may not happen overnight, but it'll connect with someone. And some of the stories of individuals that are putting content out there, you never know who's watching your video, you never know who's following your feed. So put content out as much as possible.
That's true. I mean, that's a really good point. I mean, I look back, people ask me, like, is there something that you wished you would have done, like, in the early days? It's like, I wish I would have done exactly what you just said. I wish I would have created more content, documented more of the journey, right? I mean, I think that's for all of us,
Absolutely.
It's like we don't do enough of it, because typically, well, for me, I got just immersed in, serving clients and helping them produce results, and got kind of, stuck there for a long time.
I joke around. I'm kind of like the painter that hasn't painted his own house.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm teaching my clients, this is what you do, and I'm telling them, I'm building this for them. I'm helping them build their brand, and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to do it too.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so we have that in common.
It's easy to have.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so I want to know when the moment was for you when you realized that you had something that was so good, like a skill or a knowledge or some type of wisdom, like something that you've accumulated, this skill set probably for you, that you began to produce results for others. And you're like, you know what, I need to start talking more. I need to start producing more content. Like, I need to start getting this out to the masses, because it can really make a difference for people. Like, first of all, like, when was that moment for you? And then, it's a journey, right? So what were some of the roadblocks that you had to come up against that you wished you would have known before you had to go through them?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the danger of being, quote unquote, an expert is what you know and your knowledge to you, it's normal. You know what I mean? You're like, you can talk about stuff and you know about stuff. You've done it so much that you can say stuff that you just think that everybody knows. You think that everybody knows that they should use this integration, this funnel, this type of ad, and use this. So you just think that everybody knows that, and then you start talking to people. So this is when it happened to me. I've done ads and helped build platforms for over 10 years now. And it wasn't until probably about 4 years ago. I remember I was talking to a guy. He's actually our marketing director now. His name is James Starr. It's probably less than 4 years, probably just a couple of years. And I was showing him some of the stuff that I was doing, and I was telling him, and he would say, "Man, my mind is blown." And I looked at James as a brilliant guy, a brilliant marketer, and I would tell him stuff. He's like, "Man, my mind is blown. I've never heard anybody say that." And then he would start telling me, he's like, "Look, people would pay you to just what you just told me. People would pay." I'm like, "Really?" Like, everybody knows that. He's like, "No, that is not normal. Nobody has ever done that before. That is, you would say things like, "That is genius. That is brilliant." I'm like, "Really? It is?" And so he kind of pushed me along the journey, and I would find stuff. So this is what I would do, is I would see people that are doing really good online, doing good stuff, and I would just kind of see maybe a slight hole or something, area. Sometimes it would just be like a total mess. You look at stuff, I'm like, look, there's so many things wrong. Right. This link isn't clickable. And it was just as an easy mess to fix. But there was people that were doing good stuff, getting results, but I knew that if we could change this, if we could change that they would see even greater results. So I remember one time I was talking to a guy, and I'd message him. I was like, "Hey man, there's probably opportunity to improve what you're doing, I think you can get a lot greater results. And I knew he was doing good. You know, you can research and you can kind of reverse engineer. I knew he was doing pretty good. And he said, how much do you think you can improve? I said, well, probably at least increase your conversions by X%. And he paused for a moment. He said, you really think so? I said, yeah. And he said, I'd be willing to pay you if you could actually deliver that. And I was like that. I was like, okay. And he paid me just, it was something that adding a code in their website, moving this here, and it increased their conversions by like 10% on the month. And this was a company that was doing high 6, even 7 figures a month. So you have to imagine that just a 10% increase in their opt-ins or their conversions that they're seeing there, that was tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands over time for them. So people will pay if you can help them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you so once you realized that, right, it was Jason?
It was James.
So you had James, he was in your corner telling you, like, you've got to start packaging this stuff up. You had you had people that were out there doing it. You approached them because you saw massive holes. I love that analogy because that's how I look at things too. I can see all the holes. Was there any, when you began to package up your knowledge, your wisdom, and then you began to sell it or began to offer it to other people, was there any roadblocks that you came up against? All right.
Yeah, obviously, I think the biggest one is right here in your mind.
Yeah.
And you have those mental barriers, and there's a couple different things. Number one, it's like, for me, my integrity and who I am, you can't put a price tag on it. And so selling a course, I didn't want to be one of these guys selling a course.
Right.
And I've seen it so many times. And I'm sure you have that. You have the expert. I'll give you an example. I remember sitting in a conference one time, and this guy was being introduced as one of the big speakers, one of the prestigious speakers, and they're like, this guy is the Facebook ads expert, he's done such and such, and they're just really hyping this guy up that he is like the number one guy in the world for Facebook ads. I'm sitting there, and he comes to the stage, and I kind of have to shake my head because I'm the one running his ads.
That's funny.
Nothing about ads. And,
that's hilarious.
And there's a certain position in who I am and what I do that you kind of set in the background and you let that happen. But I realized that the introduction wasn't necessarily authentic.
Right.
He would call me up like, man, I don't know what to do and stuff. And so I realized, so I didn't want to present myself as something that I sincerely wasn't.
Right.
And so you wrestle with that, like, am I really, am I that good? Then when you have peers validate, like, I mean, they value, and you have experts that are coming to you for advice, then I think it's validated. So I think the number one thing, the first thing that I had to overcome was that, what would people think of me for selling my products, selling my courses? Are they thinking, oh, you're just trying to make some money? And then I realized, look, what I have, it helps people. It really helps their business. It helps their ads. It helps their platforms. It helps them. So it's kind of like a moral obligation that, look, I got to help people. And putting a price tag on it, really, it ensures that they use it.
Right.
That's what it does.
That's true.
I've heard it said, if a person doesn't pay, they don't pay attention.
True.
I've seen that. I've given people. I remember there was a guy in my church. He would ask me, "Oh man, you help me out and stuff." I'm like, "Hey, I'll give you access to my course, and no charge. Give you access to my course." And then a couple weeks later, he would come up to me and start asking me questions and stuff. And I looked at him. I said, "You haven't even looked at my course, have you?" Because I answered that question in my course. And so I realized, look, if a person's not going to put some skin in the game, chances are they're not going to pay attention to your course. So paying kind of ensures that they will value that, and you value yourself, you value your opinion, your advice, and so putting a price tag on it ensures that they actually use it. Overcoming that mental barrier that, hey, I'm good enough to be an expert, and then, putting a price tag on it. Well, I'm not doing it for selfish reasons, even though I am making money, but it kind of ensures that people will actually put things into action if they put a price tag on it.
Yeah, I've seen that too. I mean, people don't value what they don't pay for, right? And so it's, even if it's something, right? Like they say a buyer's 40 times more valuable than a lead. Well, that's because they're willing to, they value the information enough to be like, okay, you know what? Let me get out my credit card and make an investment, right? So I think that's spot on. And a lot of the stuff for me as well in my journey was just getting over that, same things. I mean, we all go through this same journey of like acquiring a skill set, acquiring knowledge or wisdom, and then we do it for so long for others, and then it becomes common to us, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It becomes common. It's like, everybody knows about the pixelization format, conversion, state of, you talk the mumbo jumbo jargon, the techno babble, and it's just like, it becomes normal for you.
What would you say to someone who has been trying to sell their information, but they've just can't figure out like how to make it profitable? Like they might have been spending a lot of money on Facebook ads or Instagram or YouTube. Like they've been spending money to get their message out, right, and impact more people's lives and make money doing it. But it's just they're spending more than they're making. Like what would your encouragement be for that?
You're going to run out of money first. You're going to run out of money. So I would say a person like that, number one, if they're not making money on it, sometimes there are people that are willing to put money behind something just to get the message out. I know, for example, authors that will spend a lot of money just to get their books in people's hand. And so, that's a very altruistic thing to do. It's nice, but unless you just have an unlimited budget, it's not necessarily a sustainable business model just to spend something just to get the message out.
True.
So you definitely have to look at things. The more money you can make, the more you can get your message out. So you definitely have to stack things, and you have to put things in place. When it comes to someone spending more money than they're making, obviously on a technical level, there could be a lot of different issues, and it could be not the right offer, it could be the wrong price, it could be they don't have a value stack that is far enough. I think, for example, one of the coolest things is free books. Right here on my desk, I have 6 books that were free plus shipping books.
Nice.
And, they're getting their books out, and if you do it right, you can make money. You have some order bumps and everything like that. So yeah, if you've got something, but you're not making money on it, you have to kind of take a step back. Unless, like I said, you've got an unlimited budget,
right?
You can go as long as you want, but you're gonna have to take a step back, reevaluate. What do I have? What am I offering? Do I need to add something? Do I need to take something away? Do I need to reposition it? Stuff. I mean, we could have an all-day conversation about what the person needs to do.
Yeah, what's working, not working. Have you ever had a situation where you spend a lot of time massaging the offer, massaging the funnel, and then you launch it, and then it's backwards, it's upside down out of the gate, right? And then you've got to come back to the drawing board, sit with the team, right? Like,
yeah.
What came up for you when that happened?
Yeah, so especially in the world of paid traffic, prices fluctuating, going up and down, so you can see a lot if there is an interest in your product that people they'll comment. You can see the excitement. You can see that. So if there is a sincere demand for it, then sometimes you just have to take a step back and like we've seen a day kind of transitions in the flow of things years ago, you used to be able to just send people, and you still can in many opportunities. You can send people straight to a webinar and immediate ROI. That's cool. You're making money day one. But there's some offers that you really have to prime the people. You have to build an audience. That's the beautiful thing about building a personal brand or building, your own tribe of people, is that you have a lot more flexibility of, you can put offers that aren't perfect out there and you can still get something out of it. So that's why I think it's important to invest in your personal brand. But sometimes you got to take a step back and, hey, do I need to re-communicate this? Do I need to put some tripwires in place before I send them to the webinar? So there's a few things that you have to take into consideration in doing things like that.
Nice. And another thing, another question. I know for me, at least this is what's been true for me, is both mentors and then masterminds are what like catapulted my success in my career. Can you tell me about your journey with masterminds and with having the right people in your corner to be like, adjust this, adjust that, do this, do that? That makes sense?
Yeah. So I'll give you a great example of one of those just mind changing. And this might, a lot of times when you have those aha moments, when you communicate it to someone else because it's not their aha moment, they may not fully comprehend this. But let me give you an example. Growing up in a Christian background, a Christian home, there is almost this tendency, this mindset that money is evil. You can, there's danger, you can make money, but not too much money because it gets dangerous if you start to make a lot of money. And so that's a mindset that growing up, I kind of have yeah, you can make money, but don't, millionaires, those are, that's evil or something like that. And so that was a preconceived mindset growing up that I had. But I remember sitting down with a guy that was a very successful Christian entrepreneur. So I was a billionaire, not millionaire, but billionaire. And number one, I saw his compassion, the way he helped people and the way he talked to people. And, he explained it to me. He's like, look, the more money I make, the more people I can help. And it was then I was like, look, that makes a lot of sense. And from a biblical perspective, he even gave me scripture. He was saying things. He's like, I hear a lot of preachers, they talk about, hey, you can be the head and not the tail, the first and the last. He said, but the same scripture also says that you will be the lender and not the borrower. So how can you be a lender
right.
You're always broke? Yeah.
Right, that's good perspective.
So that was a mentor in my life that helped change my mentor. And you know how it is a lot of times in business, the biggest barrier that you got to get through is that mindset, those preconceived barriers that you have. So having a mentor and him showing me, and mentors not only can show you, it accelerates growth.
I think that's powerful, man. I think a lot of people want to pass the mindset stuff because oh, that doesn't really matter. Just give me the tactics and the strategies.
No,
right?
It is. So I'll tell you one thing that I've done in all of my courses now is the first 4 or 5 lessons, it's about mindset. It's like I'm teaching Facebook ads, but the first 4 or 5 lessons, it's about mindset.
Yeah.
Because if you have a messed up mindset, it doesn't matter the techniques that you learn. You're going to get discouraged. You're going to give up. You're going to, you're going to keep hitting the wall. You're not going to know how to go past it. So you have to really get past those mental barriers.
Yeah, I would agree, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Now, how about are you in any masterminds that have you experienced? I'm sure you are at this point in your career.
Yeah.
I would love to know your perspective on masterminds and how they've played a role in your your career, your success.
Yeah. So I've heard it said. Matter of fact, I think Russell talks about this in Expert Secrets, that people go to masterminds for different reasons. Sometimes people go there for the ego purpose, like, oh, I'm a part of this mastermind, like pat me on the back. And hey, that's cool. It makes them feel good. And some people go there for specifically the content, the learning, and that part of it. But then there's individuals, and for me, when it comes to masterminds, what I really like is the relationships the people that you meet. And I've got a lot of friends that I've connected with through masterminds, and that to me, again, going back to relationships more important than anything for me. So that's just it's a valuable.
What would you say one thing? It might take you a second to think about it. But what would you say one thing that you learned from being in masterminds? I mean, we all know the value of masterminds is the collective group, right? Like, who's at the table? I think Napoleon Hill talked about that. I mean, how long ago did he talk about that concept, right?
Yeah.
So masterminds are not new. I mean, this has been around for a long time. But think back. I mean, I just did this exercise the other day, and I came up with like 21 different things that I learned by being in masterminds. So I would love to hear from you, like, what was like one big, like, kind of aha moment for you sitting in a mastermind, or maybe you were presenting in a mastermind and something triggered for you?
Yeah, so there's probably a lot of them, but what a mastermind does is there are people that are on various levels of what you are doing, and maybe not the exact type of business, but they're in business. They know business, and there's people that are 10 years ahead of you, and then there might be people that are 10 years behind you. And so, for example, presenting or speaking at a mastermind, one of the cool things that I like at masterminds is kind of like the hot seat type situation where you sit down and you're like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Then you have someone over here saying, hey, I've had this same situation before. And I mean, it can be something as simple as, hey, I'm having problems with high refunds. And someone says, well, look at this. You need to change this, or you need to work with this company. They'll help you decrease your refunds, or connecting with merchant processors, those relationships that people have. Again, it's so you have people that are 10 years or more ahead of you, and they're giving you, this is what I did in that situation. Then you have people that are 10 years behind, and they're learning. You're helping. Not only is someone helping you, but you are there in the middle asking a question, and the person over here on the other side of the coin, they're like, okay, that's good to know. So they don't have the same problem you have when they're in the same place. So masterminds is a beautiful thing because it's kind of you are learning, and hopefully if you're in the right group, you can help others too.
Nice. And so let's wrap it with one nugget, like one tactical, one strategic thing that you would love to share, like something that's working really well for you right now that you wish more people knew about.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, in our, are you talking like in funnel type process and all that cool stuff?
Yeah.
So I tell you, what we have learned is, so we do all ad platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, native ads, whatever we can get for traffic. So number one, you have to have diversified traffic. If you're just running one traffic, then your business can be done with one ad account getting shut down or something like that. So be diversified in your traffic. Then secondly, there is a trend, and I think a lot of people see this, that you can't just go for the quick sale. You used to be able to do that, just like, hey, here's my offer, boom, sell. And in some instances, if your offer is good enough, you can still do that. But there's more of a relationship that has to be built. So there's content, there's video. So I'll share something that I kind of teach in our courses and our classes. I call it the ICE method, ICE, I-C-E. First of all, you have a video that is an introductory video of the hero, who you are, what you're doing. It's kind of like the sizzle video, you're the rock star, showing your life, your success and stuff. And you run a good amount of traffic to that. And then we take that video and we make a lookalike, a custom audience, 50% people that have viewed 50% or more of that video. And then we send it to a C video, C-I-C-E, C, which is a content video. We do a series of 3 videos of content. And it's just pure value, teaching people, leading them up to your offer, but you're teaching them valuable content. I've had people that we do like a 5-minute value video, a content video, teaching them how to set up an ad or something like that. And they stop there at one of these videos. I had a guy one time, he was in this sequence in our ads, and he got into one of our content videos. And a few days later, he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, do you have a mastermind or something like that? I watched one of your content videos and I put it into action. I got 3 new clients." And
nice.
And so he was asking me, sell me something.
Right.
He's like, he said, "I know if I can get 3 new clients just a free ad that you had, then I want to be a part of your mastermind, your coaching program."
Nice.
We do C, content, 3 content videos, and then out of those, we make custom audience, 50% of viewers or more that view 50% or more of that video, and then we send them to E, which is an engagement. We engage them in our offer. And so we see, by the time people go through this sequence of ICE, when they get to E, they are engaged, and our success on buyers is just so much higher versus a lot of people just, here's my offer. They start at E, and they're like, it's not working. Well, the people don't know you. They don't trust you. They don't know anything about you. So IC and then E. And when you engage them for the sale, you'll see much higher conversion, sales.
That's brilliant, man. Yeah, I love that. That's brilliant. So I'm going to recap that because that was good. So first off, it's introduction, like sizzle reel, like highlights, like success, like backstory, all that type of stuff, right?
I tell people, show people where they want to be.
Right. Okay. So show them the dream on the front end. Okay, that's awesome. And then the next thing is 3 different videos, right? Of just value-based content, results in advance, just provide massive value.
Yeah, I always tell people, look, give them a video that if they watch this video, they could put it into action and they could see a difference in what they're doing.
Nice.
So, it works for any niche.
Yeah, that works for everything.
Anything. Do this one thing, and it will make a difference in your business.
And so you do 3 though. So you focus on 3. So 3 different videos. Now, before the engagement happens, do you have them watch all 3? Or do they just have to watch 50% of one in order to be engaged?
Yeah, so we try to get them to all 3, but quite honestly, we're going to be making custom audiences off of all 3 of them. We're going to be setting ads up, so they're going to get caught in there one way or another.
And how long are the videos typically? Like the introduction's what, maybe a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
So we if we're running it on Instagram, for example, obviously we have to do minute or less.
Right.
But the introduction video might be 3 minutes, but then our content video, they're longer videos. They're 4 to 7 minutes.
Okay.
So it's actually a lesson.
Yeah.
Them stuff. Like I might take this ICE principle and put that into a video and break it down into 7 minutes. I also have a SOS series that I teach, SOS, systemize, optimize, scale, and we would use that into a content video too.
Nice.
So it's just 7 minutes. It's something, 3 or 4 points. I could take, ICE, and I could teach that for, hours.
True.
I make it into a digestible 5 to 7 minute video that they get the concept, they can put it into action, but there's a lot more.
There's a lot more to it, yeah. So it's something that's like quick and easy for them to do. It's simple. It's not like a real complex, robust thing. It's not meant to be a course, right? It's just meant to be a taste. And it's really what you're doing here, in my opinion, is you're sowing before you reap. right? And you're providing more value. You're providing results in advance first, and then eventually you're saying, okay, now if you love that, well, you can go deeper into E, right, which is the offer or the engagement piece.
For example, that one particular guy, I remember what it was. I had a video teaching how to do ads for car dealerships, and it was just plain and simple. This is the ad. Here's all of my targeting. Here is the landing page. Here's the email sequence. And it was just something I taught in 7 minutes. He took that, went to a dealership, set up their ads, got it going. He's like, look, I already got 3 clients. I'm making money.
Nice.
And he was ready to buy whatever.
Nice. Yeah, that's brilliant, man. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Paul, for coming on today.
My pleasure.
Where can people learn more about what you're up to?
Hey, well, so the easiest way to find me is on Instagram.
Yeah.
My Instagram handle is Paul.
Yeah.
just Paul. It's not like Paul _Getter _123. Just Paul.
I remember, man, when I first saw you, I'm like, how the heck did he get Paul? Like you were an early adopter, huh?
Yeah. You spend enough money with Mark Zuckerberg, he does you favors.
Nice.
Easiest way, give me a follow on Instagram. We're always in our DMs, so check me out there. Also, my website is paulgetter.com.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Likewise, bro.
Cool. All right. So there you have it. You've heard from Paul Getter, the nerd himself, and it was so much fun having him on the show. And so what I gleaned from his experiences, right, is self-education changed the game for him, just like it has for me, and like it has for Tony, and like it has for Dean Graziosi. And that's why we resonate so deeply with Tony and Dean's mission of making self-education the new norm, because people are tired of paying people for book smarts, and they're ready to pay for people who have knowledge, who have wisdom, who have expertise, who have a skill, and they're out doing it and getting the results, right? I mean, that's what Paul said as well. He echoed that, right? And then secondly would be the value of events or masterminds and mentors. And I believe that's the fastest way to accelerate your success outside of hiring someone to do all the work for you, which in some cases I recommend doing that, but not everybody can afford that. Not everybody can manage having someone do all of the work for them. If you can, have someone, do all of the work for you, then great. Like, you should do that path. That path is going to propel you forward even faster. But, for many of us, it's not an option. So, we got to look at what are the things that's going to jumpstart our careers and jumpstart our impact and jumpstart our movements. It's being involved with masterminds and being involved with the right people, the right mentors, the right coaches that can guide you on your journey, just as if you were to climb Mount Everest, right? I mean, you'd have a guide, hopefully, or else you might die, right? So, I'm a big fan of having a mentor or mentors, just like every major athlete. I mean, typically they'll have several coaches, not just one, right? So success leaves clues, right? Model what's working, model success. And so I love what Paul had to say about his journey, and specifically about how some of the things that he came up against when he realized, oh my God, I've got some knowledge and wisdom that other people need, and it can help them get ahead faster and further faster, make greater impact. And we all go through that mindset barrier, right? That wall of like, will people pay for what I have to offer? The reality is this: when you have something that can help people along on their journey and it can help them get there faster, then it's just a matter of targeting the right audience and getting in front of the right people. And Facebook ads and YouTube and Google and Instagram, like all of these different platforms make it so easy nowadays to get in front of the right people. So Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins, they have a brand new live training coming up. I'm going to encourage you to jump on it. They're going to be talking about how the self-education industry is set to go to 1B. That's 1 billion. Yep, that's right. And it's going to go from here and it's going to go to here by 2025. So don't miss out on this massive wave, this massive opportunity to take part in a big shift in how people learn and who they're learning from, right? I believe that there's people that want to learn from you because you maybe have a skill or knowledge or wisdom that you're ahead of someone in, okay? And if you have something that can help other people, it's your moral obligation to serve and help other people, and you can get paid doing it and truly impact people's lives. And that's what Tony and Dean are all about. That's why my partner Nick and I are supporting Tony and Dean in their new launch. Get registered for it. We put together a crazy awesome bonus package at kbbmastermindbonus.com. Check it out and see all of the things that we've put in there that will typically sell for those price points, but we're giving it away for free because we're supporting Tony, we're supporting Dean. We believe in the movement that they've created. We're a part of it ourselves, and we love what they're up to. So if you have any questions, reach out, drop a comment, email us or call us. We have a whole team behind us that's here to support you on your journey, and we can't wait to hear from you.